All right, good morning, or afternoon actually. We are going to be doing balancing postures today, and this is going to be balancing postures on our feet. So there are arm balancing poses where you're balancing on our hands or our forearms, and there are also inversions where you're going to be balancing on your head, your shoulders, and things of that nature. So with this practice today, it's going to continue on from our standing postures, but it's going to be with one foot on the ground. And the other foot is going to be lifted up somehow, or it's going to be pressing up against something else. And it's going to take us literally off of our balance. So balance doesn't actually mean that we need to be symmetrical or even. That balance actually comes from finding that middle point when things are tipped over to one side a little bit too much. So you will see in some ways that you can still maintain balance even though you're not perfectly symmetrical. And so with this practice today, all of these postures are not going to be symmetrical so that they throw us off of our balance and then challenge us so that we can stay upright or balanced on our feet. With our balance, what tool that we typically use to help us with our practice and maintaining that consistent balance is our gaze. So our eye gaze, known as the drishti, our visual focal point, is something that is going to help us, very much like dancers will fix their gaze on something called spotting when they are dancing to not let them get dizzy or to fall over while they're spinning. We're not going to be spinning, but we're going to still use that as a technique. We're also going to be using a few other fun things and strategies to help challenge ourselves in our balancing poses, possibly like turning our head, etc. But just for now, just know that drishti is going to be what you will be using, your visual gaze, your visual focus. That is something that is fixed on something that's not moving. Okay, so I am rather nearsighted and I can't see far and everything looks like an impressionist painting at a certain extent. So it's a little bit more challenging to look straight out along the horizon. However, if you still look out a decent amount of distance, that you should be able to look at the ground and not have to tip your head down to change where your gaze is going. So maintaining that tall spine, that chin that's parallel to the floor is still what we're trying to look for. And then trying to bring our gaze almost to the horizon or straight out along in front of us is what we're going to be working on the best. Okay, let's go ahead and get started in our easy sitting position. Now that might mean that you will want to use a block underneath your seat and place it directly underneath your sit bones so that you allow your knees to drop down below your hips. And this kind of frees up the pelvis in a way where we don't feel that we're so compressed. We also don't have our knees that are riding up into our underarms. So once you find your way into your easy sitting position, see if you can bring your pelvis so it's fully upright. The knees are going to be resting down towards the ground. Draw the navel in towards the spine and then pull your front ribs down, especially if you have that tendency to rib flare. Pull those front ribs down and towards each other. I want you to take a full breath in. You're going to lift your shoulders up towards your ears. Exhale, roll the shoulders down and back. And then inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, down and back. Inhale, lifting up, and exhale, down and back. Let the hands either rest on top of your knees. You can be facing down or facing up, or resting the hands in your lap. I want you to close your eyes right now. Just take a full breath in, letting your belly, your chest, and your low throat expand and rise. Exhale and release. Feeling the breath being pressed out of the body, navel tucks in deeper towards the spine. Inhale again. And exhale all the way out. Inhale. And exhale fully. Continue to breathe on your own, relaxing through the mouth and jaw. And just sit tall, resting and centering yourself. There's a quote by Donna Farhi that says, "Only through skill does balance come. Firm and relaxed, steady and sweet, effortless and focused. Where do these words lead? In daily life, we're bombarded by sensations, sights, sounds, smells, physical sensations, fantasies and memories, hopes and dreams, fears and realities, duties and responsibilities, everything from the fact of our mortality to the need to buy some more toilet paper. This bombardment overstimulates us, and we become reactive. Saturated by experience, we lose sight of who we are. We react in the moment, out of the tangle of past experiences. So a red light is not just a red light. It is also all the times we've been late, all the times I haven't been late, what the Army taught me about being on time, and what I imagine others will think of me for being late. Somewhere underneath all this, there might even lurk the fact that I don't want to go wherever it is I'm going at the moment, so I'm dragging my feet. All of this and a whole lot more inform my reaction to the stoplight. In the chaos of overstimulated reactivity, clear seeing becomes an impossibility. Skillfulness in action, irrelevant. My thoughts, my words, my deeds don't add up. I am living in illusion. Yoga opposes this condition with practices aimed at quieting the mind, the body, and the spirit. On the mat, we have a microcosm of our lives. Bombarded with sensation, we can become overwhelmed and reactive, or we can begin to acquire skill in the art of life. But where do we begin? I suppose we could start with the words, firm and relaxed, steady and sweet, effortless and focused, and see what happens. From where you are, flutter your eyes open, keep the gaze soft. Let's change the crossing of our feet, so opposite foot in front. And we're going to bring our hand into a mudra, Vishnu mudra. So what that means is you're going to curl your index and your middle finger towards your palm. I'm going to change the view for you real quick. Okay, so you're going to curl your index finger and your middle finger towards your palm, exposing your thumb and your ring finger. And we're going to place the hand facing towards our face. With this, we're going to use the inside edge of our ring finger to close off our nostril. So we're using our right hand. You're going to close off your left nostril and then open it with that side. And then you use the inside edge of your thumb towards that right side of your face. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate facing head on for this. Give me a moment to switch the views. And we're going to go through what's known as Anuloma Viloma, or alternate nostril breathing. So So with alternate nostril breathing, we will breathe out of the nostril before we breathe into it. There are different practices that you may do that are very similar to this type of practice, where it's a Surya Badana, which is breathing in through your right nostril and breathing out through your left. And the reversal of that, which is the Chandra Badana, which is breathing out through the left nostril and breathing out through the right nostril and breathing in through the left. And you would cycle through that on a regular basis. With the Anuloma Viloma, you're breathing out through the same nostril that you breathe in. And I kind of see this as a semicircle, kind of bouncing in and out, as opposed to the full circle in one direction. Okay, so with this, see if you can sit up tall, still keeping your sit bones underneath you. You'll bring your ring finger towards the outer edge of your left nostril, and I want you to exhale out your right nostril fully. Inhale through your right nostril. Close off your right, open up the left, exhale. Inhale through the left side. Close off the left, exhale, open up the right, and exhale out that side. Inhale through your right. Close off right, open left, exhale. Inhale left. Close off left, open up right, exhale. Inhale right. Open up the left, close off the right, exhale. Inhale through the left side. Close off the left, open up right, exhale. Inhale left, right. Close off right, open up left, exhale. Inhale. Close it off, switch sides, exhale out your right. Inhale right. Close off the right, exhale left. Inhale left. And then continue on with a few more rounds, at least 2 more rounds on both sides. After your second side of breathing in through the left side, release the hand and exhale out both nostrils. Breathe in and breathe out. With your next inhale, tip the chin up towards the sky and look up. Good. See if you can keep the back of the neck long so you're not just dumping your head back, but lift up from the very back of your neck. Head tips up towards the sky, and then exhale, nod the head down towards your chest. Inhale, lift the head up. Exhale, nod the head down. Inhale, nod the head up. Exhale down. Inhale up. And exhale down. Inhale, bring your head to neutral where your chin is parallel to the floor. And then slowly turn to look over your right shoulder. Bring through center and turn to look over your left shoulder. Bring through center, over to the right, center, to the left, center, to the right, center, last time to the left, and back in through center. Let's climb up onto hands and knees and come into our tabletop position. So hands are going to be directly underneath your shoulders. Fingertips are pressing into the ground. And I want you to feel right into your tabletop position that there should be some springiness in your shoulders. So just kind of do little pushes, little pulses into the ground. Make sure that you're not down here and just sinking into your joints. And I want you to really fully activate and feel that there's going to be that rebound energy that's going through your shoulders. All right, so as you're gripping your fingertips into the ground, draw your navel towards your spine. So you're pulling that up and in, engaging through your front ribs so they just don't dip down. And I want you to extend your right leg straight back without moving any other part of your body. Right leg goes back. Rotating your toes so that they point towards the ground. Your inner right thigh presses up towards the ceiling. Long neck here. Good. Nice, Demi. Good, and then slowly lower your right knee down. Nothing else moves. Extend your left leg straight back behind you, reaching out through the heel, flexing at that foot. Inner thigh rolls up. Breathing. And then releasing your left knee down. Reach your right leg straight back. Good. Extend your left arm forward, balancing tabletop. And maintain that springiness in that right shoulder, the fingertips pressing down. Exhale, release the hand and knee without moving any other part of the body. And then extending back through your left leg and reaching out through your right fingertips. Good. Balancing tabletop, also known as our bird dog. And exhale, releasing hand and knee to the floor. All right, so now we're gonna take our tabletop right into our plank position. So this is gonna be a little bit more challenging for some of us. With that, just keep in mind that we're still feeling that buoyancy in our shoulders, but when we extend back, we're not moving any other part of the body. Send your right toes to the floor back behind you, extending through that knee. Draw navel into spine. And then send your left foot straight back. Good. Without changing any other part of the body, head stays in line. Lower your right knee underneath your body, and then the left knee. Good. So try to minimize the movement. Everything else stays the same, nice and still. Extend your left leg back, toes curled under. Engage through that core. Good. Just try to be as still as possible. Right leg extends straight back. Left knee carefully down. Right knee carefully down. Woo! You guys got it in you for another round? Yeah? Good stuff. Let's do it. Right leg extends straight back. Nothing else moves. Good. Left leg straight back. Feel that buoyancy in your spine. Pack your thighs up towards the sky. Breathe in. Smile, breathe out. Right knee underneath you. Left knee underneath you. Take a breath. Switch sides. Left leg goes straight back. Right leg straight back. Engage through those legs, pressing through your heels just as much as you're pressing down through your fingertips. Good. Left knee down, right knee down, child's pose. If you need to release your wrists, make little fists and then circle out your wrists. And then slowly release your hands down. Let's make our way up onto all fours. You're going to curl your toes under and send it back into downward facing dog. Hips go high, head hangs down. And from here, just march your feet up and down. Just marching them in place. You can take the feet all the way up, bending the opposite knee. And just seeing if you can get those heels towards the ground with a little bit of active movement here. And then slowly releasing both heels towards the ground, tail up, look towards your hands, and then walk your feet forward to the top edge of the mat. Bring your feet directly underneath you, hips distance apart, toes facing forward. Bend your knees a lot, belly touching onto thighs. With your next breath in, I want you to pull your ribs in. Lift yourself up to a flat back halfway. So you're lengthening through your spine, lifting up halfway up. Good. Hands can be out wide or on your knees, that's fine. But just as long as the hands are very light on the touch. Exhale, fold in half. Let the head drop down. And then inhale, lifting up, flat back halfway. Lengthen through your spine, shoulders back. Good. Flip that tail up and see if you can put a little bit more weight into the toes. Yes. Exhale, fold in half. Good. From here, we're going to make our way all the way up to stand, going through that flat back. Reach your arms out wide. Upright the pelvis fully. Reach the hands to the sky. And then exhale your arms, circle wide and down by your sides. Good. Standing tall in your mountain pose. Press the feet towards the floor, finding all four corners of your feet touching down. Lengthen your fingertips towards the floor. Inhale, circle the arms wide and up, upward hand salute. Exhale, fold in half, hinge from the hips and take it down. Inhale, right foot steps back into lunge. Hips down, chest lifts, look up, smile. Exhale, left foot steps back, downward facing dog. Inhale, shoulders forward over your wrists. Find that plank position. Good. Exhale, knees, chest, chin to the floor. Inhale to cobra, hips down, tops of feet on the ground. Lift the chest up, elbows firm back. Exhale, lower and press back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot steps forward into lunge. Hips down, chest lifts, looking up, smiling. Exhale, left foot forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive. Squeeze from your inner thighs to lift you. Hands go up. Exhale to mountain pose. Inhale, arms go up. Upward hand salute. Exhale, fold in half, tipping all the way down. Inhale, left foot steps back into lunge. Hips down, chest lifts, look up, smile. Exhale, right foot steps back, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank, shoulders roll over the wrists. Exhale the knees, chest and chin to the floor. The hips are high enough for that small guinea pig. Then smash the guinea pig, tops of feet on the floor. Inhale, lift the heart up, squeeze through your shoulder blades. Good. Exhale, lower, send it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot steps forward, lunge. Exhale, right foot forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, come up. Exhale to mountain pose. Inhale, upward hand salute. Exhale, fold in half. Inhale, right foot back to lunge. Exhale, left foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra, hips down, feet anchor. Lengthen through your spine. Exhale, lower, send it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot steps forward into your lunge. Exhale, left foot forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, come up. Exhale to mountain pose. Inhale, upward hand salute. Exhale, standing forward fold. Inhale, left foot back lunge. Exhale, right foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale to cobra. Exhale, lower, send it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot forward, lunge. Exhale, right foot forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, come up. Exhale to mountain pose. All right, how are we doing, guys? Thumbs up. All right, let's continue on. Okay, so we're gonna work right into our balancing poses today. We're not gonna do, we'll do a little bit of reviews of some of the poses, the standing postures, but before we get into any of those poses, I just kind of wanted to introduce balancing to you and how that feels in your body and on your feet, and easier techniques to use in these ones. So this isn't particularly a posture that we have a name for, but it's just a tool that you can use to help yourself kind of find a little bit of balance. So we're going to shift the weight into our right foot. I just want you to feel how, we're going to rock side to side from both feet. I just want you to feel how when you shift your weight from one side to the other, that when we're shifting our weight, we're shifting not only our hips, but our rib cage and our shoulders. So everything travels along with us. And we don't pop our hips off to the side, okay? And we don't just kind of do this weird little, salsa kind of thing. We want to make sure that we're shifting everything over. And when we do so, the opposite leg gets light. It gets so light that you can just float it up. Okay, so when we start to shift enough of our weight, we start to tip that little teeter-totter or seesaw in a sense, but that standing leg becomes lighter. The other leg becomes lighter, okay? So just keep going side to side, and I want you to feel how the other leg, just how much you need to go so that other leg becomes so light, it just floats up. Okay? Now go ahead and come into your right shifted position. So bearing the weight into your right side. Float the left foot up. Pull your ribs and navel in towards your spine. And feel your ASIS points pull towards each other. You're going to step your left foot on top of your right foot. Your arms can be resting down by your sides. Maybe you prefer your hands on your hips. But as we're just standing here, you'll start to notice that most likely your right foot is going to have a lot of movement, okay? And chances are, without that foot there, your left foot on top, there's still going to be that similar type of movement. That these are just our reflexes responding to our body, reacting to gravity, okay? So how we need to position ourselves, if we make any of these subtle changes, how we're breathing, etc. It is important that you guys are breathing right now and not holding your breath, although it is very tempting to hold your breath in these poses. Go ahead and step out of the right side and then come into the left side. You may notice that one side feels more natural than the other. Maybe there's less reactivity to keeping yourself more upright, okay? So maybe that foot isn't having to do as much work because it feels stronger and more capable of finding that, that balance. All right, let's go ahead and try some fun techniques then. Shifting the weight into your right foot, you're gonna step your left foot on top, bringing your hands to your hips or down by your sides. And I want you to fix your drishti, your visual focus. Just beeline your gaze right on something out in front of you that's not moving. Take a few deep breaths here and see if you can grow a little bit taller through your spine. And maybe this doesn't feel as hyper-focused on that one foot that's balancing here, but now instead you start to feel that the balance becomes breathing and kind of shifting our focus away from that. Shifting out of that foot, and then taking that weight into your left foot, right foot steps on top. Good. And this time, I'd like for you to close your eyes and see if anything else changes. So you may have already fallen out of the pose. Maybe you just got extra wobbly and you feel like a drunken sailor. It's kind of shifting your body weight around. Go ahead and open up your eyes and see if you can maintain a little bit more calm. There we go. And then go ahead and release. So how'd you guys do with that? Yeah. Yeah, I surprised myself that I didn't collapse all the way down to the ground, but that is my more stable leg personally. So I know that if I had done it on my other leg, that I probably would not have done so well. But just know that that is just kind of showcasing how important our gaze or our eyesight is for our balance. So if you would like to challenge your practice as we continue with this over time, these poses become a little bit more common and natural for you, that you can change your the challenge level of this by simply closing your eyes or maybe even turning your gaze in one direction or the other. So we do something already with our Warrior 2, we go with our gaze forward, but then if we turn our gaze into another direction, it does challenge our balance that way too. So just keep that in mind for you, but also remembering that we need to breathe as we are coming through these balancing poses. So let's get into our first posture. This is tree pose, Vrikshasana. And Vrikshasana, I find, is one of the easier of the postures. By all means, balancing poses are not easy for a lot of us. So just know that this is going to be a practice that is going to get progressively harder, that this one might be a little bit more on the mild side in terms of the intensity level for it. All right, let's go ahead and shift the same weight into, like we did earlier, into our right foot. And I'd like for you to take your left foot down to the inside ankle of your right standing leg. Good. With that foot just resting there, your knees turned out towards the side a little bit. I don't want the hips to turn down, maintaining that level pelvis here, keeping your core solid and engaged. Good, but still suggestible to movement and breath. Wonderful. And then this is the first stage of the posture. If you'd like to progress up to something that's a little bit more challenging, you'll bring your foot to the inner calf. Now, if you are someone that struggles with your balance altogether, or maybe just today, you're feeling like your balance is just completely off, or if you've had an injury in your ankle or foot, it is always fine to stay in that first stage of the posture, and then maybe even use a wall for a little bit of extra feedback. And then you can always progressively move your way up when your body feels ready for it. All right, so you can go from your second stage, and maybe you'd like to go into that third level or that next stage where the foot comes to the inner thigh. Notice how my toes are pointed down, the heel is up. The knee is rotated off to the side, but it's not going to be fully out to the side, not flat. But I just want you to feel like this inner thigh is lifting up and wrapping around in that direction. All right, bringing your hands either to your heart, or if you'd like to, you can branch through your arms, lengthening up through your fingertips in your full tree pose. It just depends on what you'd like to do. Fixing your drishti on something out in front of you that's not moving, and then breathing slowly. And then exiting from the pose, release the arms, spin the knee forward, and gently step down. Okay? If you found yourself kind of dancing or bouncing around like a pogo stick, come out of the pose fully and then re-enter with the same care and slowness that you did the very first time, okay? It doesn't serve us to try to find balance while we're still finding ourselves off kilter. So switching the weight into your left foot now, again, hips, shoulders, and rib cage all stacked. And you're gonna bring your right foot into either the first stage, you can bypass those and just keep going right into the posture or the level that works best for you. Good, and then just feeling how these two frontal hip points are pulling towards each other, drawing the navel in, hands coming in at your heart, and taking those full deep breaths with a soft jaw. You want to feel how this bent knee, the foot is pressing into the leg actively just as much as the leg is pushing into the foot. So they're combining each other, just like we do in our mountain pose, that we feel our thighs squeezing together. I want you to use that right foot into the left thigh and left thigh back into the foot to engage through that inner thigh muscle. Good, gently spinning the knee forward and releasing the foot down. Good, how do we do with that, guys? Questions, comments, thoughts? You can unmute yourself, you can place something in the chat, or those thumbs up are welcome too. We all good? Okay.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, when my right leg lifts up, it seems like it's pressing into my thigh more than my left foot, if that's like normal.
Yes, so we're gonna have imbalances in our body where our strength is going to be different on each side, right? So you said that when you were standing on your left leg, your right foot pushing into your thigh was not as strong as your left pushing into your right leg?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that might be just a common thing where it's a glute imbalance, where that foot pushing in is, not going to be as strong. It also could be that you were more mindful of it the second time around. So it just could be, a whole host of things. So one time that we practice is not really going to, it tells us a lot, but it doesn't tell us a trend. So if you see these patterns happening over time, then that's something that you may want to, just let it be as a possibility for you to investigate on your own in the future. So, yeah, I mean, like our balance actually shifts from different times of the day. We actually have better balance in the morning than we do at night, just because in the morning we tend to be more well-rested. At night, we're going to be rather tired and exhausted from the rest of the day. And so our reaction time for our reflexes is going to be a little bit slower and off. And also our body is stiffer, which actually helps us with that balance as well. So you'll start to notice these trends and commonalities throughout your practice. But if it is something that you tend to find that there's going to be, like a completely huge difference over time, then you may want to work on it where you're always starting on the leg that's harder for you, and then doing the other side, because we tend to do the first side a little bit longer just in general. Let's see, I had another comment on here. I had to step out of the pose a few times because I was trying to find my balance. And this is perfectly common. And, as I mentioned, like sometimes the time of day is going to dictate how well our balance is. Sometimes it's how much sleep we got or how much food is in our belly. It could be just a whole host of things, like how much is on our mind. If we've got a whole lot on our mind, it's really difficult to focus on just one thing, which is, breathing and balancing there. So I like to say, like, if you've got a full sink of dishes, or if you need your car washed or things like that, that your balance is most likely going to be, to feel off. So I'm not saying that you should go and wash your dishes right now, but you may notice that the balance does tend to be a little bit off, and that's why we practice those niyamas, saucha in particular, with purity to help us with that balance and focus. So yeah, all right, these are good comments. Anybody else? Nope. Okay, let's continue on, and we're actually going to come into our warrior two from our tree pose. So you're going to start at the top of the mat, and we're going to flow right into it. So we're going to go through this together. I want you to stand with your feet about hips distance apart, toes facing forward. Shift the weight into your right foot, and then bring your left foot up into whatever spot, whatever stage, maybe the ankle, the calf, or your inner thigh, and bring your hands together at your heart center. Fix your drishti on something that's not moving. Breathe in. Breathe out. Once more, breathe in. Lengthen up through the spine. As you breathe out, feel your right foot rooting into the ground. Spin your left knee forward. Let that foot hover. You're going to softly bend your right knee as you tip forward. Tip forward. Extend your left leg back until the foot steps down. Arms branch out wide, right into your warrior two. All right, take another full breath in here, excuse me. I'll adjust. Arms lengthening out into that T shape. Bend your right knee enough so you can feel that you're sitting into the posture. And then see if you can put a little extra weight into the outside of your right foot. Take your drishti over your right middle finger and sit down. Big full breath in. Big full breath out. Good. Straighten out your right leg, engage through the thigh. Reach forward with your right fingertips. Good. Really feel that thigh dig deep. And then right hand comes down to thigh or shin, maybe the block, left hand towards the sky. Triangle pose. So remember that we're not just straightening out the right knee, that we're engaging and finding length through the hamstring, resisting it as we go right into the posture. Good. Maybe changing your balance by looking up at that left hand. And then slowly pulling yourself up into warrior two. Reverse your warrior. Flip your right palm up, left hand down the back leg, and feel a big stretch through right side of the body. Inhale, make your way up into your warrior two. And then we'll go into our side angle. Reach forward with your right fingertips, elbow on the thigh. Make sure your neck is open, and then left arm comes by your ear, palm facing towards the floor. Sit down with your sit bones. Now see if you can turn from your rib cage, spiral your heart towards the ceiling or the sky. Good, then lift yourself back up into your warrior two. I want you to straighten out your right leg. You're going to spin from the heel and turn your right toes slightly forward. They're going to be a little bit more rotated inward. Do the same with your left toes. So you're a little bit pigeon-toed. Bring your hands to your hips now. I want you to lift up taller through your spine. Exhale, tip forward and come into standing wide leg forward fold. Now we didn't come into this posture last week, we just didn't have enough time, but I want you to still maintain a lot of that balance where you're putting that weight into your toes. So sometimes we kind of put that weight back into our heels, we kind of sit back, put that weight forward into your toes, and then see if you can lift your kneecaps up off of your shins. You're engaging your thighs, squeezing and hugging the muscle around the bone. Tail goes up, head hangs down. Eventually, as we come into these poses, our head will touch down to the ground and we can come into our headstand from there. Don't worry if you're like, nope, not even possible. Good. And then I want you to squeeze from your inner thighs. Suck your feet in towards the midline. Just feel that energy as you pull yourself up halfway and then all the way up to standing. All right, go ahead and heel toe or hop your feet in towards each other for a little show and tell. So the next pose that we're going to go into is our half moon pose. We're going to come into it from the side stance position, and you can use a block if you have one available. I'm going to show you the version with the block as well as with the floor, just so you have those as alternatives. With the block, when you're coming into this posture, you can either hold onto the block with your hand the whole time and place your block down, or you can place the block along the floor and then place your hand on top of the block. I'm going to show you with the block on the floor. And I'm going to place the block down where it's along the pinky toe side of my foot, but forward. Okay, so it's not directly in front of my toes, but off towards the side. So that inner edge of the block is lined up with my pinky toe. You can have the block at different heights, just depending on your hamstring flexibility. And you want the block to be a good 6 to 8 inches or so away from your standing foot, your toes, so that you give yourself enough space through your side waist. Okay? So with this posture, I'm going to come into this from my side stance poses of warrior 2 and my side angle. I'm going to lengthen forward and bring my hand onto the block. My left arm can either be up or hand on the hip. I'm going to hop my left foot in a little bit closer. So now this left foot becomes a little bit lighter when I'm setting myself up on my standing leg. All right, so with my standing leg, if that weight is far enough forward, I can slowly float the left leg up towards the sky. With this, I can eventually raise my left arm up towards the ceiling and then maybe turn my gaze along the horizon or up at my outstretched hand. I'm not going to be able to do that today. My balance is just a little wonky today, and that's perfectly fine. If you find that when you're doing this posture that your back foot keeps kind of coming down and there's a lot of weight back, I want you to shift that weight forward into the fingertips and into your hand. Good, and then lift with those left toes. You'll carefully glide yourself out by bending your knee and coming out of the posture. All right, so it looks like some of you guys had started it, but let's go ahead and see if we can come into this together. I'm going to demonstrate this next one without the block, okay? Looks like, Demi, you're using your water bottle for this one. That works too, as long as you have a pretty wide base and it's not going to tip over and spill everywhere. All right, let's branch our arms out wide into our T shape in warrior 2, gazing over your right fingertips. Let's lengthen out through your right fingertips and then take your hand down to the floor. And I like to be up on my fingertips for this one. Bring your left hand to your hip. Hop your left foot in closer. Good. You can keep a bend in your right knee. I'm okay with that as long as your knee goes in the same direction as your toes. And then gently float a strong left leg up towards the sky, lifting from your pinky toe side of your foot. Good. Your gaze can be down at the ground or along the horizon, or even up at your outstretched hand. Left hand eventually will go up towards the sky. Taking full breaths in and out here. And we'll slowly step it back into warrior 2. Good. And from our warrior 2, we're going to step forward into our mountain pose, coming to the top of the mat. Woo! Good stuff. Let's try the other side. Shift the weight into your left foot now. I'm going to switch directions so that I don't show my backside. Shift the weight into your left foot. Bring your right foot up into tree pose. So the foot to the ankle, calf, or inner thigh, pressing firmly as you lift tall. Taking full breaths in through the nose and all the way out. Spin your right knee forward and slowly step it back into your warrior 2. Good. Arms branch out wide into a T. And then looking out of your left fingertips right into your warrior 2. Sit down into the posture and place a little extra weight into the pinky toe side of your foot and that left foot here. From here, straightening out your left leg, engage through the thigh. Reach forward with your left fingertips. Take the hand down on thigh or shin or the block, and right hand goes up towards the sky. See if you can keep that straight line in your spine. So it really means that that left thigh goes deep into that hip socket. Good. Stretching up tall. And then inhale, lift yourself all the way up into your warrior two, branching out to the fingertips. Reverse your warrior, flip the left palm, right hand down the back leg, big stretch through left body. Inhale back up, warrior two. Exhale, side angle. Left elbow on the thigh, right arm comes across. Bring that arm just above the ear, and then turning your gaze up towards the ceiling. Your drishti goes up. It's almost like you're smelling your armpit here. Pressing through your right heel, lengthening up and out. And see if you can squeeze your feet in towards each other. Woo! There's some adductor work there. Good, lift yourself back up into warrior two. And then straightening out your left leg. Let's move right into our toes turn in a little bit, heels pressed wide, hands to your hips again, standing wide leg forward fold. Tip from the pelvis, lower yourself down, crown towards the ground. Maybe the hands will come down to the floor. Keep that weight shifting forward into your toes. And just take a notice as you're here, maybe the arches of your feet are smashing into the ground. See if you can press into the outer heel a little more as you ground through the balls of the feet. Hands to your hips, squeeze from your thighs, lift up halfway, then all the way up. Come back into your warrior two, rotate your left toes out, looking out of your left fingertips, then right into your side angle, left elbow on the thigh, right arm comes across. Look down at the ground, grab onto your block or place your fingertips to the pinky toe side, a good few inches away from your foot. Then you're going to bring your right hand to your hip for now. Hop your right foot in until that weight can go into your left foot. And then gently floating up into your half moon pose. Ardha Chandrasana. Lengthening up through your right fingertips. Pressing through that leg. Good, and still keeping your knee and toes moving in the same direction. Bending your left knee, carefully drift your right toes and foot down to the floor, back into warrior two for a moment, and then stepping towards the front edge of the mat, right into your mountain pose. Woo! All right, guys, questions? We good to go? All right, let's continue on. So these next two poses that we're going to hopefully get into today, I hope we can have enough time for these, are going to, the first pose is going to possibly require a strap, but again, we have alternatives without using the strap. If you do have a strap, you're going to place the strap over your shoulder. I like to say over your shoulder like a continental soldier, right? Your ears hang low. And you'll have it available for you for grabbing onto once you come into your balance, okay? So I'm going to demonstrate on this other side today. What pose we're going to be doing is called extended big toe pose. Extended big toe pose. So with this posture, you're going to place the weight into your standing leg. I'm going to demonstrate on my right leg. And you're going to bring your left knee up. Hands are going to come underneath the thigh. You're going to grab a hold of that thigh. When we're doing this pose, we want to make sure that we're not leaning back to lift ourselves up. We're also not going to be rounding forward to get that leg up high. Okay, so make sure that you keep that tall spine, and it's like you're in your mountain pose. Without a strap, you're going to extend through that leg and lift yourself up taller. You do not need to have your knee fully straight. And if you are feeling a stretch in that left leg, great. That's a secondary type of sensation that I'd like you to focus on. But it's mostly focusing on the standing leg and how strong and stable you are. So it's perfectly fine if you have a bend in your knee. Okay, if you're using your strap, you'll place the strap along the ball of the foot, the knuckle of the pinky toe, and your hands are going to grab a hold of the sides of the strap as close to the strap as possible. And then you're going to extend out through your foot. Okay? Again, a little quicker demonstration for this one. Balancing on that side, your foot comes up. I'm going to lift myself up tall and then start to extend my leg out. My hands will slide back to accommodate for a straighter leg, especially if I'm not, you may be here, but I don't want your leg to be too low here. So get that tall lifted spine and then shoot out from the leg. The pose itself gets its name because extended big toe, we're actually grabbing a hold of the big toe eventually using our first and middle finger, okay? Our peace fingers wrap around the big toe in a yogi toe grab, okay? So with that, you balance, I'll demonstrate facing forward. You'll balance here, bringing the leg up, grabbing a hold of the foot, and then extending out through the leg. Okay? So those are options. Know that if you extend your leg all the way out and you have your shoulders round forward, then you may need to have your knee bent instead to maintain that tall mountain pose-like spine. Okay? So from here, let's stand in our mountain pose. Once you place all the weight into your right foot, bring your left knee up towards your chest, either grabbing a hold of the back of the thigh or grabbing a hold of your left big toe. Arm comes along the inside of that leg. Standing up tall, especially using that right standing leg, slowly start to extend your left foot out. Good. Feel your right hamstring, the back of the leg, pressing away from you. Good. And breathing as you fix your drishti on something that's not moving. Bend through the knee and gently release. Good. We'll come back into that one in just a moment. We're going to do the other side now. So let's switch the weight over into your left foot. Bring your right knee up towards your chest. Wrap the hands around the underside of the thigh, maybe grabbing a hold of that big toe. Good. Standing up tall, extending out through your right leg. Breathing with a relaxed jaw. And slowly release. Good. You guys do okay? Yeah. Again, these start to get progressively harder, especially as we come into longer levers with our legs, okay? So we're going to move on to our next posture, which is going to be kind of like the opposite position of that one, in that our leg is going to be behind us now instead of in front of us. So it's going to challenge a different set of muscles to keep ourselves balanced, okay? But we are going to be kind of folded over with this posture, which is known as Warrior 3, okay? So I would suggest not doing this one with a strap and just doing the hands underneath the thigh or grabbing a hold of the big toe with that. All right, let's shift into your right foot. Weight goes into your right foot, left knee comes up towards your chest, hands either underneath the thigh or grabbing a hold of the big toe and extending out through your left heel. Take another full breath in here. See if you can keep your left leg lifted without the hip coming higher. Hands come to your hips. Slowly float the leg down like a big pendulum. You're going to swing the leg back, 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 until you tip yourself into a capital T shape. Good, so this is warrior 3. Hands can either be, at your hips or at your heart, or if you'd like to really find the challenge of the pose, and I'm feeling enough challenge without that, you can bring your arms out away from you. So the arms stretch in the opposite direction of your standing leg as your hips become balanced. This is warrior 3. You'll come up to standing, bring your left foot to meet the right, and release your arms down. Yeah? Harder? Your feet on fire yet? Good. All right, let's switch sides. So weight goes into your left foot. Bring your right knee up towards your chest, hands interlace underneath the thigh or grab a hold of your big toe, extending out through your right leg. Breathe. Fix your drishti on something that's not moving. And then bring your hands to your hips. Keep the leg floating and then slowly lower it down. Pass the foot like a big pendulum. It swings back behind you as you tip your chest forward and then lower that right hip down a little bit more. It's going to want to creep up. Maybe hands to your heart or arms extend straight out in front of you. Your drishti in this pose is actually down at the ground, so your arms line up with your ears, just like in our balancing tabletop. Good, slowly lift yourself up to mountain pose. Let's inhale, reach up through your fingertips, come up onto your tippy toes. Think up as opposed to forward. Heels down, fold in half. Come into standing forward fold. Bend the knees a lot. Settle those hips down towards the mat. Woo, feet together, knees wide. We learned this one last week. This is bound angle. Grab a hold of your ankles, lift up tall, and then exhale, tip forward. Moving to the front of your sit bones. Good, breathing here. Inhale yourself up. Exhale, scoop the hands behind the knees, draw them together, and lower yourself all the way down onto your back. Take the legs with you. Carefully place your feet on the floor with the knees bent, and then heel toe your feet to the outer edges of the mat so your little pinky toes are hanging off. And then bring your arms out wide into a T. Let the knees tip over to the right. Bring them back up through center and then over to the left. Up through center and over to the right. Through center and to the left. Center, and one more time in each direction. And back in through center. Let the knees tuck all the way in towards your body. And then extend the legs out in front of you, coming into your corpse pose. Lengthen out through the legs. Good, or keep the knees bent. Relax your head onto the mat, then slip the shoulder blades underneath you. Relax your legs and your feet, your hips. Keep your spine suggestible to movement. And just feel the heaviness of your head, allowing it to rest softly on the mat. And just allow yourself to settle in. Just start to notice your internal environment. Maybe you feel your heart beating in your chest. Maybe you feel its pulse radiating out into every limb of your body. Maybe you feel the gentle undulation of the breath. I'm just noticing if there's any other part of your body that still remains tight. See if you can relax it. And doing the same thing with your mind. If anything still feels resistant or heavy, let it flow out with the breath. From where you are, take a full breath in. Exhale, open up your mouth and let out a sigh. Inhale as you stretch the arms up and overhead. Find length throughout the body, reaching through fingers and toes. And exhale with a sigh. Gently draw your knees into your chest. And carefully roll over to one side. Slowly make your way up to seated, extending through your top leg, easing your way up and letting your head come up last. Make your way into your easy sitting position, Sukhasana. Sitting up tall. Bring hands together at heart center and maybe unmuting yourself for the closing of our practice. The light within me bows to the light within you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.